Everyone remembers the day when Robert O'Hara Burke rode away from Melbourne with half the colony watching, banded by ambition, sponsored by the Victorian government, and sworn to achieve what Europeans had insisted could not be done: cross Australia from south to north. It was 1860. The age of empires still read the continent as blank space to be conquered. Burke, an Irish cavalryman with little bush experience, and William John Wills, a meticulous surveyor, became the faces of an expedition that was part science, part spectacle, and part political theatre. They left with 19 men, wagons, instruments, and audacious timetables. For months, the party pushed inland, winning public admiration and headlines as they pressed toward the Gulf of Carpentaria. But the map did not contain the human detail of survival, water holes, seasonal cycles, and the deep local knowledge of Aboriginal people. By December, they had established a depot on Cooper Creek and split the party. The forward push to the north, Burke, Wills, King, and 2 others reached the estuary but had to turn back. Exhausted and poorly provisioned, they fought a slow retreat. The heart of the tragedy is a single bitter error in timing. William Bra, left in charge of the Cooper Creek depot, waited for Burke to return. He waited for months. On April 21, 1861, thinking further hope futile and believing his duty to conserve the men and supplies, Bra silently abandoned camp. He buried supplies under the famous Dig tree and left messages carved on the trunk. 9 hours later, Burke staggered into what should have been a sanctuary. The men were days from rescue. Instead, they found emptiness. What followed was a desperate scramble that reads like a courtroom drama. Burke and Wills, weakened by exposure and hunger, failed to reach the caches Bra had left only a short distance away. Wills died first. Burke lasted a few more days. John King alone was sustained by the generosity of Yandruwanda people until a relief party found him. The bodies of Burke and Wills, along with the expedition journals, were discovered months later by Alfred Howitt, who led the official search and recovery in September 1861. Howitt's discovery was both revelation and indictment. The pages of Wills and Burke's notebooks, the location and condition of the supplies, and the testimony of survivors created a mosaic of decisions that could be read in more than one way. Newspapers and politicians seized those pieces and assembled rival narratives. One line cast Burke as reckless, a man whose ambition had outrun competence. Another defended him as a martyr to imperial aspiration. The depot party, led by Bra, was pilloried for leaving too soon. Families demanded answers. A public hungry for heroes demanded certainty. Here is where the conspiracy entered the public record. Not a cloak and dagger plot, but a deliberate narrowing of blame. Powerful backers of the expedition, members of the exploration committee, and some government officials moved to protect reputations. Official inquiries focused their criticism on Burke's command choices while softening scrutiny of the coordination, the provisioning plans, and the delays in organizing relief. Some evidence, petty failures of supply management, the slow launch of relief parties, the awkward chain of command, was downplayed in official reports, which preferred a tidy moral. The continent had been faced down, though at terrible cost. Howitt's journals and the simple testimony of John King undercut that neatness. They highlighted a series of human errors, poor planning, bad leadership decisions, and a catastrophic misunderstanding between parties on Cooper Creek, more than any single moral failing. Above all, they revealed the vital role Aboriginal people played in saving King, an uncomfortable truth for a society reluctant to admit dependence on First Nations knowledge. The public reaction was a strange mix of reverence and rage. Burke and Wills became icons, statues, eulogies, and songs. But behind the ceremonies, the questions the journals posed refused to be buried. The conspiracy, the attempt by authorities to shape the story, to convert defeat into a heroic pageant, left a lasting stain. It made the expedition a national myth built on missteps, not miracles. Today, the dig tree stands not merely as a relic, but as an accusation carved in bark, a reminder that discovery is never only about reaching a point on a map. It is about the choices people make, the truth they tell, and the stories they will not let their leaders forget.